Okay. Hi there. Welcome to the podcast. This is Kevin.
It's funny to me because it's a minute and a half I'm deleting.
Yep. All right. Ignore him saying that he's going to delete something. We just started this.
I didn't like part 5 that much. I felt like I couldn't connect with any of the characters. I really didn't care, especially like when you think someone died, but then they just don't. And it's like, oh, none of this matters. I have no attachment to these people, and I guess maybe because if I look at the first 4 parts, at least there's a connection. At least I have recurring characters. Here, it's like, hey, let's go see what these people are doing and never talk to them again. I don't believe
part
they're
5.
ever going to come back. I don't know. I felt it was underwhelmed. I was expecting more adventures, but really from this day one, it was, hey, let's do this one problem.
Well, it's actually a little bit more. It does change pace, actually, compared to, like... Part 5 is, I think, closer to Part 2 in that, like, where it's headed isn't very clear. Like, when it starts out, there's no way you could probably predict how it's going to end based on, like, the first episode. And then, like, as the story keeps moving, like, the goal and the focus of what they're doing does change. It does, like, Trish does get introduced kind of early on, but that's not after, like, I think 10 episodes. And by that point, like, it's like, we gotta protect Trish, and then, like, halfway through that, it changes again. Similar to Part 2, how, like, it starts with one thing, and then ends with, like, all this, after all this crazy stuff, there's all these plot twists. Now they're fighting the Pillarmen.
Oh shit, Pillarmen? I missed an episode.
No, that's Part 2.
Oh. Either way. I didn't, Part 5 I thought was kind of weak, but maybe I'll watch it again. They just announced the English voice cast, I think, today or yesterday. So, I don't know, maybe I'll give it another chance, but I did just, like, watch it, so maybe I should wait a year.
There is some, like, there were some changes from the manga here and there, so I'm not sure, like, if part of the reason why I still like it is because, like, I already read the manga beforehand. Because, like, there are some, like, personal little character stuff that was removed in the anime, which I think might have helped you, like, connect with them better. But they still also had, like, just mostly, like, sidebar conversations and give you stuff that kind of, like, got you, like, into the characters. Maybe not. It's, personally, for me, the ending... Okay, so...
Well,
the first ending...
Who's the first ending. When you
the
watch
first
it a
ending,
second time, you get the true ending.
Yeah, the first ending where they fight Diavolo wasn't very satisfying for me, and I think for most people, but I also think, like, it wasn't supposed to be, like, a big, like, battle sequence, and I think the anime was trying to, like, hype it up as, like, this big battle, because, like, the opening changes, and it's like, oh, look, Diavolo's doing stuff to the opening.
But even though, like, it's like 50 episodes, and they're hyping up this guy since episode 1, and when you get to him, it's like, oh, this wasn't that intense.
Oh, they don't hype him up until, like... They don't really hype him up until, like, way, like, into...
Well, when you say, I'm gonna take down the Mafia, that includes the boss.
Yeah, but, like, essentially, they weren't really hyping him up as, like, strong or anything up until, like, the Mystery of King Crimson episode, when they bring Trish up to him.
Even then.
Like, that's when they started hyping him up as really tough, but, like, that was probably, like, the scariest he ever is like, in that episode.
I forget.
In the episode after.
He deletes time, but I don't remember how that works.
Oh.
Does he stop time and then...
No. So, his stand has 2 parts to it. There's the big head, and then there's the little head on the forehead of the big head. His stand is King Crimson, and on the head of King Crimson is a little substand called Epitaph. Epitaph can see 10 seconds in the future. So if you're going to shoot him, he can see you shooting him in the future, and he can delete that section of time of you shooting him.
He can delete the future.
Well, the future's unwritten. He just starts erasing time, and then like everybody continues down the path of what they were doing. So the guy still tries to shoot him, but because he already knows it's going to happen, and because he started erasing time, he can like move freely around and do stuff. But like for everybody else, it's not happening until then it finishes, and then that section of time is erased. Like everybody else, they just see like, oh, I shot him. See, and then like, but then time is erased, and now suddenly he jumps around. It's basically like a lag switch. Have you ever played online against somebody with a lag switch?
I've had bad lag in the game.
Okay. Well, if you ever find somebody playing with a lag switch, that's what King Crimson is. Everything you do is pointless. Everything they do takes precedent over what you do. This is probably like the worst explanation for King Crimson.
Well, I know you tried to explain it before, and even then it's not really doing that.
Yeah. I think partially because my explanation relies on something you don't know about.
Like something that comes up later?
No, lag switches.
Oh.
If you've never played against somebody with a lag switch, my explanation doesn't help you in any way. Because I think that's like the closest, most direct example I can give of what it does. But yeah, as a final battle, it's not really much of a final battle. He's pretty much cornered the entire time. And on top of that, the focus entirely changes to like Silver Chariot Requiem.
Which I thought was kind of like, what?
Yeah, it's very what. The ending to JoJo Part 5, when I read it in manga, was very confusing. I didn't understand what was happening when I read it. Like, I kind of understood, but it was like a lot of like. I didn't really have an emotional feeling for a lot of it because, like, I was just kind of wrapping my head around like all the weird shit happening, and it kind of like made the emotion not there. I think it's the ending that kind of makes it not as great as the other parts, but I still say it's good.
I do think
it's good.
Grateful Dead. I think that was like probably one of the most powerful stands, and they could have done a lot more with it, but they didn't.
Yeah. I mean, they killed him, so what else is he gonna do with it?
You know, but I feel like he could have been like one of the bigger baddies.
I think every single stand user, except for a couple, like him, Rick and Morty stand.
Which one was that?
Oh, Green Day. And Oasis.
How do you get Rick and Morty out of that?
Because like he's got green hair and he's got a white lab coat. And his hair's all like spiked out. It's like right before they fight the boss at the Coliseum. Like right before they get to Coliseum. He's in a helicopter.
I remember that sequence. I don't remember how he looked.
Oh yeah. He had like purple lipstick, green hair.
All the stands, like all the characters are kind of like maybe it's like a part 3 thing. There's so many of them every episode.
Mm-hmm.
So they're unmemorable.
I think it's also like, although they are still dressed very wackily, they are also like, for the most part, mobsters. So they are all dressed in like suits, with the exception of like weird ones, like the guy who uses Metallica and Doppio. But Doppio is, Doppio. You can't forget Doppio. Because, like, Prosciutto, he's in a suit. Fucking. Actually, it's probably just Prosciutto. I don't remember anybody else. Oh, Gelato. No, wait. Gelato's not in a suit.
The guy who made he made a stand or whatever. Remember him?
Oh yeah, when the baby stand.
Babyface.
Yeah,
So the guy
babyface
who
killer.
made him, I thought he was gonna make a second one,
Oh, Melanie. Oh yeah, he was.
but he didn't. Did he?
No, he didn't.
Why not?
Uh,
He said he was going
so
to. He's like, I can make a
Giorno
bunch of them.
Giorno turned something into a poisonous king cobra, and then it bit him and killed him before he could make a second one.
But he was on the train. He could have just done it.
Yeah, he was about to, but he didn't have a chance to.
No, that's the same guy that can like turn into ice and stuff on his skates. I thought.
Oh, that was different. No, that's a separate guy.
But that was the same
That
guy.
no, that's Giacchio. He uses White Album
Oh,
because he has. You're just confusing. They have glasses. Melanie was blonde. Giacchio had blue hair.
Ugh.
Giacchio is AVGN. They don't even look very similar. They're so different.
I don't remember.
Melanie also had like he didn't even have glasses. He had like that weird like bandit mask, like the Riddler.
Well, he had something on his face.
Yeah, I think it's also because like the last time we watched Part 5 was like months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago.
So you might be just forgetting.
I think I started watching it like when the last episode was just coming out that week.
Yeah, I was following it like weekly, so I had a different experience. So for me, I'd like to say that the new ending themes, "Wake Up Feeling So Horny."
I like the
Uh,
mashup better version, but even then,
I don't even know the mashup.
it's alright. Even then, I don't care for the song. I don't know. I was all
Yeah, it was weird. It was different. It was not what I was expecting.
almost like
But
one of the intros, and I expected something different from the show too.
the first opening is really great. The second opening is weird, but over time it grew on me. I do like the second opening, but it's like it's not as so regularly in JoJo openings. They kind of like they do a lot of cool stuff that has like a bunch of hidden meaning in it. And I feel like the second opening there wasn't really any hidden meaning. It was like very directly scenes from the show. Here they are.
Well, okay, so when Abakio in the first opening, he's holding the sand, right, in his hand in the
Yeah,
hourglass.
yeah.
It doesn't like I found it doesn't symbolize like the time and like how much time he has left on Earth. It actually because it's like pouring out of his hands right down in front of him,
Yeah.
and it's yellow, so it represents his piss when he peed in that teapot.
Oh.
I saw a post that said that.
Oh my god. So like in the first opening, the one thing I do like about it is like the double meaning with all the chains and how the song is like the lyrics are talking about how like the chains of fate are binding everybody. And that's kind of like what they kind of worked in like a theme from the story into that, and I kind of like that. The second opening, the lyrics are all right, but it's very like I guess it kind of matches the actual show because it's very like frantic and weird and like you think it's going down one road and then it switches to another. Like in terms of like, oh, they're about to fight Devo, it's gonna be an epic battle, and then it's not that at all. And I think like that might be the disappointing part, as it builds up to this thing, and then like surprise Silver Chariot Requiem, and then it's all about the Requiem stand.
Oh yeah, I forgot Polnareff came back.
Oh yeah, Polnareff's back. Yo, what's up?
So why does he have the eye thing? Why did he break his legs? They didn't show that.
Diavolo. Oh, they showed that. Diavolo tried to kill him because he was investigating the arrow, and it pointed him in the direction of this new mob that started showing up, taking over the Italian mafia.
I keep seeing posts saying that if Dio knew he had a son, he would have taken him in.
Not necessarily.
Oh, I want you to tell me that they're wrong.
Okay, so there is a pot. It's all fan fiction, but I don't think Dio would have been a very good father.
Okay, the photos tell me otherwise. The fan art says nope. Give him a big old hug.
Yeah, that's the fan art.
Throw it out.
But
You artists out
here,
there, you suck.
let's also keep in mind that Dio had sex with some random woman and then didn't even know she was pregnant before he
No one
died.
could have survived. No one's ever survived a night with Dio.
Well, she did
Whoa.
because we got drawn out to prove it. Like there was no love between them or anything. And technically, it's Jonathan's kid
Someone
because it
was
was
saying that it was kind of
Jonathan's
weird.
penis.
Someone was saying it's kind of weird that Dio gave Jorno's mom a selfie of like his shoulder.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. I don't remember what the photo looked like in the original. I feel like they changed it to that just because like it'd be more recognizable. But I don't know. It's weird.
They should just give it a photo from like the OVA, that Jojo.
All right, here's a weird ass fucking thought.
Already.
How the fuck is there a photo of Dio if
Hermit
he's a
Purple?
vampire?
No, they don't show up in mirrors. They show up in photos.
Yeah, but even then, because like how a photo works is you're supposed to take a picture of like light. If there's no light where Dio is, then well, I guess you can walk around in light, but it's like can't be sunlight, whatever. But like vampires also don't show up in photos because that's still a reflection.
Then how come we got photos of Dio in part 3?
That was I could understand with Hermit Purple, but if the idea is that somebody took a photo of him from behind, the photo would have been blank because like they didn't use Hermit Purple or any kind of like spiritual thing. But that's just headcanon, so it doesn't really matter. Whatever. Doesn't Dio show up in a mirror too?
I don't remember.
Oh wait, hold on. Fuck all that.
Okay, fuck it.
Because I just remembered in part 2 that vampire guy does show up in a mirror, so they don't even work under these same rules. This was a stupid conversation that I brought up.
Alright.
I'm an idiot.
Check this out.
Yeah?
Why is he called Dio Volo? It's kind of misleading, isn't it? To make it that he's attached to Dio somehow.
Well, I think the idea is that Dio is like whatever language that is for God, and Diavolo is Italian for devil. So they were trying to like when he was trying to do like a mirror type situation because like when Polnareff approaches Dio on the staircase, Dio is above him. When Diavolo approaches Polnareff on the staircase, he's below him.
Holy shit!
The devil's coming up from the bottom.
That's nuts.
Because Dio wants to rule the world above everybody, and Diavolo wants to rule from the
Underworld.
from the darkness, from the underworld.
Holy shit! Do you think this was intentional?
Yes.
You sound a little uncertain at the same time. You seem confident in your uncertainty.
Like I was gonna like think because I had to think about it for a second, and then I double thought. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure Iraqi has come out and said all this, so I'm pretty sure it was intentional. All right, so we haven't even talked about the best character.
Fugo.
That is, Fugo was such a strange. He's only in one fight.
The series ended when he left the group.
Okay, so did I ever tell you like the thing that we're like originally Fugo was going to come back as one of the assassins sent by the boss to kill them?
Yep.
But he decided to not go down that route. Yep. So Fugo just kind of disappears. And you don't see him again.
And then there's that light novel.
Oh yeah, Purple Haze Feedback. So that's I don't know what happens in that, but if they finish that Rohan OVA, the next OVA is probably going to be Purple Haze Feedback.
Well, today's feedback doesn't even have a manga though.
Doesn't matter. I don't think. Does Thus Spoke Rohan have a manga?
Yeah, it has like 15 chapters.
They can still like just make stuff up for the anime.
I don't know why they just
It
don't
doesn't need
focus
to
on
be made.
Rohan. I don't know why they're like taking their time with it. Just get over with.
They have other projects that come up.
Well, also like Araki is not even done right. He's been writing for quite some time.
Wait, Thus Spoke Shibuya Rohan's not even done?
No, he's still writing it. He writes like a
Oh.
random chapter every like couple years.
Oh, well, fuck that. Part 8 is more important.
Well, I'm just saying, when you start something, finish it. Like, if you do a
Yeah, they
side
shouldn't
story, do the side story before you do more.
They shouldn't have started that OVA. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, the sharp means are up the wall.
That's my thought. So who was your favorite character in Bruno's gang?
In Bruno's gang?
Yeah. Was it Fugo?
I'm gonna have to say Bruno, because he's the most memorable.
He's pretty good.
He never even found out who the boss was.
Yeah, he did.
No, he was dead.
They saw his face before that.
The thing I read was mistake.
Oh, wait. Yeah. No, they did. Because, not Giacchio, Moody Blues made the imprint.
Who would win, Diavolo or Dio?
This is a question that has plagued Jojo discussions for years.
Well, because he can stop time, but he can see that he'll stop time.
This is my thought. If they both started fighting without any knowledge of what the other person was capable of doing, Dio would win.
Why?
Okay, so he can see that he sees that Dio does something. He doesn't know what Dio's doing. Because, like, in Dio's world, Dio doesn't, like, outright say what his stand is doing. He never reveals its power to people. It's only, like, after he realizes Jotaro can also move and stops time that he, like, starts, like, revealing little things about it.
Okay, but Diavolo, he would see into the future, and he would see, like, oh, hang on, Dio teleported. He has something similar to mine.
Yeah, but, like, that would be it. And I think, like, the thing also is that Diavolo can still be surprised, and he has a limit to, like, what he can do. Because, like, a lot of what he does throughout Part 5 relies heavily on, like, sneak attacks and people not expecting what he's about to do. If he sneak attacked Dio, let's keep in mind here, Diavolo does not have Haman energy.
Okay.
That's like the one-hit kill way to beat Dio, as shown with Joseph.
Unless he pierces his brain properly, Polnareff almost did.
Yep. If he did that, he could, maybe. But also, Diavolo would have to be under the knowledge that Dio is a vampire, which, if they didn't know anything about each other, he wouldn't know he was a vampire, so he would probably do something to try to kill him easily. I guess if there would be some way he could shine light on Dio, he could kill him. But keep in mind, like, Diavolo, King Crimson is a strong stand, all that. It wouldn't be able to beat the world. Just, like, because, like, it's not just enough that, like, okay, I know his stand does this, I know it does that. You also have to actually, like, punch the guy and beat him and kill him. Like, Jotaro only beat him after all that damage, and then he shattered into a million pieces. So, like, Diavolo would have to do all that damage to him, and Dio doesn't have to, like, he wouldn't fight fair to begin with.
looking at other ones, then who would win, Dio or Kira?
Dio.
But listen, Kira can turn back time.
He can only turn back time if he has a non-stand user present, and then he reveals his ability. And let's keep in mind, how did Kira die again?
Got hit by an ambulance.
He got hit by an ambulance after
Game blown the fuck up.
After Jotaro stopped time and punched the fuck out of him.
Oh yeah.
So Dio would just have to stop time, punch the fuck out of him, and then he's dead.
Then who would win, Diavolo or Kira?
Okay. Diavolo.
Why is Kira so weak?
Because Kira's stand is that he can turn anything into a bomb. In combat, it's strong, but against a stand user who can do weird, crazy ass shit like that, he wouldn't stand a chance. He's tough against everybody else, just because like they're not expecting him. But like, and in a face-to-face fight, yeah, he's strong. He can beat a lot of people, but Diavolo and Dio can both do fucked up shit where like you won't even see it coming. And there's nothing about Kira's abilities that would allow him to see it coming.
Alright, then the final question comes down to Dio or the Pillarmen.
This is an interesting thought. This comes up a lot in fan discussions because the Pillarmen eat vampires for food, and Dio is a vampire.
Dio
So the
stop
assumption
time,
is
and the Pillarmen don't have stands.
Sans?
Stands!
Oh, yeah. So they wouldn't be able to see the world. But the only way to really kill the Pillarmen is like using sunlight or Haman energy, and Dio doesn't have that.
I thought Dio can use Haman.
No, you can't. Cars can when he unlocks the true potential and
Right.
becomes invincible.
I got the characters confused.
But I think this is difficult. I think Dio would have an advantage in that they can't see the world, and they wouldn't be able to do anything when he stops time to do stuff. I think essentially what would have to happen is he would have to be able to, like, during daytime, push them outside. And only then, I think, would Dio be able to kill them. Otherwise, they would be able to beat him every single time.
I still like that last episode of Part 5. Like, it felt like it should have been like an OVA, if anything.
Well, I like it, but I think, like, with Part 5, how I feel, it's like, it's not a story. It's not like the previous series where it's about, I think Araki was trying to do, like, a kind of, like, a Godfather type, Goodfellas type thing, where, like, it's not so much about beating the bad guy, but about, like, these characters doing stuff. Although it kind of like how Part 4 also isn't about, like, trying to beat the bad guy. It becomes about that, but it's very, like, weird, like, little stuff happening here and there. Part 5 has, like, it does have more of a plot that's kind of, like, moving forward, but it's still very, I don't think his intention was, like, this is gonna lead up to a final boss fight.
That's pretty hard in Part 5.
Yeah. And that's why it's great. I like when people die.
I can't remember who survived.
Giorno.
Yeah.
Mista.
Despite getting
Turtle
shot in the face like 20 times.
Yep. Mista shoots himself like 100 times and still lives.
And you keep thinking he's gonna die.
Fugo, I don't think does that count as a death if he never came back?
The cat came back the very next day.
Because like, I guess he didn't die because there's per plays feedback, so that doesn't count. But does he count as part of the party if he left the party? Because I think it's just Jorno, Mista, and Turtle Polnareff. And Trish. Because Bruno's dead. Abagio dead. Narancha dead.
I was thinking like every other part was going to change its tone.
Yeah.
So like I felt like part 2 and part 4 were kind of like this is kind of silly, and yeah, odd numbers were pretty more serious, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or like overall.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I suspect part 6 will not be.
Part 6 is it's silly and serious. I think every part is silly and serious at the same time.
But I guess like part 4. Okay, part 2. It's like Joseph, young Joseph. He's young Joseph. Come on. And he's always just like having a laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then part 4, it's just like just getting friends. Like, hey, we're just high school kids who happen to get into street fights.
Yeah.
A lot.
I don't think there's like a real connection there. I think it's just that like each character does their own thing, because part 3 has a lot of, on the whole, part 3 is very silly. It's probably the silliest part of all of them. Like I think since the main character acts serious all the time, it kind of like has this misleading thought of like, oh, part 3 is a serious part, but it's very silly. Like there's
well then how about this? How about the main characters alternate their demeanor? Serious, silly, serious, silly.
Still not there, because yeah, part 6.
Yeah, I suspected with what I know about part 6.
Part 6, 7, and 8 all break that, because they're all not like that.
I'm so curious about what part 8 is about.
Me too. Hopefully,
you're reading it.
Yeah, I still gotta catch up, because it's not very clear on like what a part is about until it's finished. I think, because so many times the plot will change, the story will change. You don't really know what it's about until it's over, and I think that's what I like about Jojo. You can't really. Oh fuck! This is what I've been wanting to talk about.
What?
Modern Crusaders is the fucking most badass ending in the entire series.
I don't remember which one that is.
It's the second ending for part 5.
Oh, I remember like you would see all the stands.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And they had that one. I don't know if I only saw it afterwards, but there was like one stand. If he touches you, it turns like goop or something. I don't remember how.
What was that? Oh,
like
Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, and so then on the pillar, like you saw, like, hey, some of these kind of look like goop.
Oh, really?
But
no, I think it was just that like that was I think Metallica was right next to it, because that was after the fight. Because Metallica is kind of like a goopy stand when you actually see it. It's a bunch of like little like goopy men. Every episode they defeated a stand user, a new stand was added to the pillar, which I thought was tight. And just I liked the lyrics, I liked the theme, I liked the whole thing. Although visually it's not as impressive as like part 4's ending, where they also did a similar thing, but part 4's ending kind of goes in a bunch of different directions with the Savage Garden song. Savage Garden, that's right. Right. And part three's Last Train Home. Whether you like the song or not, the ending does have kind of like a interesting little visual thing going on that changes a bit. And Walk Like an Egyptian, also weird visual thing. Part five's ending is kind of more like the first two endings, where it's very like just panning across the stone pillar, or well, tilting across the stone pillar. There's men inside the pillar. And part 5 takes place in Italy, where they found the three pillar men. Oh shit. What I thought was really weird about part 5 is there's no Zappelli character.
Well, there wasn't any after part 2.
But like part 3 doesn't take place anywhere near Italy. Part 4 doesn't take place anywhere near Italy. But parts 1 and 2 have these characters from Italy named the Zappelli family.
Yeah, and
Gyro and Caesar. Yeah. So like but Caesar had brothers and sisters. They would have gone on to make more like Zappellis.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they weren't common users.
They could have been. They could have been stand users. What if one of the members of the mob was a Zappelli?
You were telling me how Gold Experience, like, okay, first Likia Luca was like, he has such a unique like stand user design. He wasn't even a stand user, and he died right away.
Yeah.
Second, you were telling me how if you attack Gold Experience, it does damage back to you. Then they never
Yes.
did that again.
No. If you attack something that Gold Experience gives life, then the damage is done back to you.
So how come they never did that again?
I think that was way too overpowered. Because since he heals everybody, if somebody punched anybody on the team, they would instantly be killed. Because all their body parts get replaced by Gold Experience.
Oh, so I wasn't that like far in the series, and I saw your chart on like this is how King Crimson works.
Oh yeah.
And you wrote Dio instead of Geo or whatever.
No, I wrote Geo.
I read it as Dio, so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I thought all these guys were good guys, but I guess they all work with Dio now. Why does Dio want a brooch?
Well,
I was like super confused.
You see, Giorno, Gio, Dio, Dio.
Yeah,
Giorno was his name.
I'm still pretty sure you wrote Dio. I don't.
Listen, I've rewritten that thing 3 times, and I know exactly what I've changed each time, and none of them was changing the name Dio because it was never there. I think Diavolo was written on it.
No.
Because it was talking about the boss, King Crimson.
Either way, I got all confused.
Oh yeah.
Also, there's a lot of videos out there I'm seeing that are for and against Araki Forgot.
Yeah.
Themes. Is there instances where he actually did forget? Because I think I saw him in an interview saying like, "Hey, sometimes I forget things."
Yeah, there's a couple. I think.
Like what's something he forgot? What's something he's like, I don't want to say.
Some of the things
he
of how.
Well, at the beginning of a lot of parts, he'll like pick up a thread and then drop it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because like as he's writing the story, he has ideas ahead of time. He doesn't like. I don't think he plans things out. He has an idea for how things are going to end, and then works towards that. And then if a more interesting idea comes along, he'll go down the more interesting idea.
And he gets away with it.
So like, because like in the end, it does make for a more interesting original story than if he had just followed. If he followed his plan, and then it turned out to be boring, Jojo probably wouldn't be as great of a series. Because he goes down the more interesting route. I think that's what makes the series interesting to begin with. Yeah, sometimes it does end up with like well, you said Haman worked like this in part one, so why is he doing this in part two? Uh, that's stuff that I think most people don't really care about. Although, yeah, it does kind of change. Like, there do come up situations where it's like, well, if Jorno Stand does this, or like if Jotaro can use Starfinger, why didn't you do it here? But for the most part, that's all in the back of my mind because like so much time passes in between those things that I forget Starfinger exists. It's just people who bring it up. They're like, "Hey, you remember Starfinger?" I think some people also like try to push like some people try to push like memes too hard in JoJo fandom. Like Araki forgot. People really try to like just find every single possible example, and they point out things that I don't think even count as forgetting. There's also like, oh, Araki doesn't know how to draw dogs because like Iggy looks weird, but if you see like every other dog in the series, they look normal, like regular dogs. So I don't know. It was literally just Iggy.
Well, no other dog eats coffee flavored gum.
Yeah, and no other dog gets a stand. And also like Iggy changes appearance throughout part three. Also, it's weird.
Does Iggy swallow the gum or spit it out?
That's a question
Does
we
Iggy
have
blow
to find
bubbles
Araki.
with gum?
I think he blows one at one point, but I can't. I haven't seen part three in a while. Back to part five. Narancia Girga, best character.
I don't know who that was.
He was the guy with Aerosmith in Bruno's gang.
Oh, your favorite character.
Yeah.
Why is he the best?
Uh,
Obviously, he wasn't.
I just like his style and his attitude. I really connect to the idea of being really stupid and being really angry about being really stupid.
Well, he
That's it.
also did study, as we saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's also like 15 or something.
17. He's actually older than Giorno. He's the same age as Jotaro was in part 3.
Someone pointed out to me that Mista's origin story, he killed all those guys instantly. After that, he can't hit shit.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no, that wasn't it. Sorry, no. He can dodge every bullet. After that, he can't dodge any.
Once he shoots a fourth bullet, he can't dodge anymore after that.
It's over.
That's why he's so afraid of number 4. And, what else? So, yeah, I think with part 1, 2, and 3, everything in those series was all about, like, there's a really big bad guy and we gotta fight him. And it's all leading up to this big fight with the bad guy. Parts 4 and 5, I think, are the start of, like, they're not about that. Like, part 4, Kira isn't the main villain. He's the last guy they fight, and he does take up the last section of the series, but he's not really, like, the story isn't heading towards fighting Kira.
Well, it's all fighting. It's all about fighting the people Kira's dad puts forth.
Yeah, but Kira's dad isn't even introduced until like that last section either, because like all the other guys they're fighting are like just because Okiyasu's brother got the stand arrow and was trying to create a stand user that could kill his dad, who turned into the Green Goblin guy, and then Electric Red Hot Chili Peppers stole the arrow, and then he started just hitting a bunch of people with it, just to fuck up everybody because he didn't want them to track him down. So Red Hot Chili Peppers is like the main villain for a long part.
Oh no, he seemed kind of minor to me.
Yeah, he's kind of a minor guy, but like he is what the main focus of the series was for that whole section, for the whole first part.
What did you not like about part 5?
So let's see. That's a lot harder than I thought it would be. I'm trying to like. I always think of
stick out for you in a bad way.
Yeah, like I always think of part 5 as like, oh, I wouldn't say that's my favorite, but I can't think of anything negative about it. I guess we were talking about negative things earlier about it, but like for me, those don't bother me as much. I guess the one thing I don't like about part 5 is Diavolo peaks early.
Oh.
Like the mystery of King Crimson happens, he shows off what he can do, and it's like, oh fuck, how do they fight that? And then when they actually fight him, it's like nothing special. Like all the guys leading up to him towards this segment are more dangerous than he is. Like Notorious B.I.G., that's more dangerous than Diavolo. Green Day and Oasis were more dangerous than Diavolo. Silver Chariot Requiem. Okay, so the craziest shit about part 5, Silver Chariot Requiem. So what it was doing was it was switching everybody's souls with each other, right?
Okay.
So that they were all in different bodies. But also, that was part 1 of part 2 of. Then it was opening a portal inside everybody that was going to release these aliens, the true forms of stands throughout the world. This is brought up like for a second and then dropped after they beat Silver Chariot Requiem.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think what's interesting, I think what I don't like about part 5 is like it does bring up stuff like that, and also like the whole thing about. Okay, here's what I don't like about part 5. Fugo should have come back as a villain. That would have been a very interesting fight, I think. And I don't mean like
died.
He would have probably, but also
his.
Well, not necessarily, because maybe they could have redeemed him. Maybe they could have like turned him against the boss or something. But either way, I just would have liked that little like emotional fight. It would have been interesting. Also, his stand would have been so fucking OP because of poison purple haze.
How come? Well, no, because we have an antidote now to that poison.
Oh, Jorno has the antidote, but yeah, I guess.
So his stand is actually useless in a fight now.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! No wonder.
No wonder they were like, oh no, I picked the wrong character to dump. Gotta kill the other ones.
Yep.
I
didn't think about that.
How come some stands can talk?
So
they seem to have like a mind of their own.
Some stands are automatic.
Also, Red Hot Chili Pepper, he was nowhere near. He couldn't even see what he was attacking. How was he able to be so precise?
You can see through your stand. The same thing happened with...
Polnareff couldn't when he was under the bed.
Oh, yeah.
They even said, I can't attack where I can't see. This is why I bring it up.
I think different stands can see differently.
Okay, still, how come some of them are sentient?
So, as part 5 explains, stands aren't just your soul.
Oh?
There's automatic stands, there's Anubis. Anubis doesn't have a stand user. Its stand user died and it continued to live on. And it's sentient and it can talk. I think it's just that some stands, as part of their power, are able to like do things and think. it's like it's how they build up. Because like also, I don't know why they're like that because it's all like weird magic stuff. Because Koichi's stand also was sentient. It would talk back to him.
Oh yeah, it'd be like, let's kill the hoe.
Yeah, and
SHIT.
which is interesting because it some stands I think have some stands are the spirit of the stand user, and I think some stands are also like they become separated from the stand user. Like Notorious B.I.G. It continue. The only way to activate it is for the stand user to die, so he can't even know what it's going to be when it comes out. He just it's weird.
I didn't understand Gold Requiem because he's like, not even Jorno knows what his stand is.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Stands are weird.
And then Diavolo was just always in a coma. A nightmare coma.
Oh.
Right?
That's that's a riddle for the ages. So like there's a lot of different ways you could I guess take that. I think it's kind of like you know how in Click he can
I
like
saw like a minute of that movie, but yeah.
oh like he can use the remote to skip through time.
Yeah. That's
But
the stand.
so it's like King Crimson. King Crimson he uses his power to skip through time. But
So
in
when they
Click
make a Part 5 live action
I'm
of
not
Adam
done.
Sandler.
I'm not done with my Click analogy.
Okay.
I'm not finished with my painting.
Okay.
So Diavolo is like Adam Sandler. At one point in Click, he loses control of the remote and stuff starts getting skipped without his consent. So I think it's like Diavolo is just going to be he's constantly in a zone of time being skipped to the point where he can't even see it anymore. He can't predict what's going to happen anymore. So like time just keeps getting skipped and then he keeps getting killed. Though actually, oh yeah, fucking fuck. I don't know how it works.
No one does.
It's all the thing about Jojo is it's not a sci-fi story. All of these things are hexes and magic, and none of them have like the logic of how stance work and how
It's
any of this
fantasy.
works is more like hexes. There's no like they don't have to make sense. All you need to know is that something fucked up is happening. Like you can try to point out like logically like oh well how come fucking another one bites the dust does this, that doesn't make sense, that's not how time travel works, because it's not really time travel, it's a fucking magic hex he's putting on people to make them explode, but it is time travel. It's complicated. It's not Back to the Future.
What stand user that is not someone that has done it could beat Dio?
Who could beat Dio? Fugo.
But he can stop time and then gas won't move.
Once
Also,
the
he can
pellet
regenerate.
once the pellet explodes, it's exploded, and like the deterioration that's shown of how the virus works much faster than Diavolo. Now I'm getting confused. Dio's healing factor.
Okay, but if he just shoots the pellet, he can just stop time.
True, but the thing is that when it shows like when the pellet is hit, the gas at some points, like after the initial like explosion, the gas becomes invisible. He wouldn't be able to see it, and if he walked through it on accident at any point, he would be infected.
Is he the only one that can beat Dio?
No.
Who can?
Jorno.
How would he beat Dio?
Fucking. He'd
Just
use.
with or without Requiem?
With Requiem, he would just have to breathe and Dio would die.
Oh, no. He's too strong.
Without Requiem, I guess he'd have to get creative here.
What if we had the World Requiem? What would that mean?
So that is a good question. I think it would be a lot more. I think if there really was the World Requiem, the assumption everybody has is it would be like some incredibly strong, powerful stand, similar like it's the world, but now it's like 10 times stronger. Now Dio's unstoppable. I think the World Requiem instead, though, would actually be more like Silver Chariot Requiem, where it would become decoupled from Dio, and then like crazy ass fucking shit would happen.
But Dio still has his vampire powers to fall back on.
He does. Here's the crazy thought. What if the World Requiem turns into like it becomes a shining ball of sunlight and immediately kills you? Because there's no really telling what ability that a Requiem stand is going to develop. Because it's not always like consistent with what they already do.
I always thought the series was going to be about just a family line fighting vampires, but that was really only the first two parts.
Yeah, and the end of part 3.
Even then, but like, what do you think how the story would have went if you just stuck with vampires?
Probably would have been boring.
So?
Yeah, I think by going off in new directions, it's because if it was stuck into vampires, we wouldn't have characters like Kira.
Well, he's more like a social vampire.
Well, he doesn't go outside. In a way, I guess he does act vampire-y in that he keeps to himself and preys on women, but otherwise, he's not a vampire.
So you want it now? That was actually a cool part when he had it like he went to that woman's house and killed her.
Yeah, I love that.
Boyfriend. That was crazy.
That was so good.
It's like, I don't know, because you never seen him actually do it until that.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, I guess that's another thing. I just like Diavolo is very like in the backseat of his own part, but I think that's also part of who he is. So it's because like you don't really see him do much.
Well, he doesn't trust anybody. He's always on the move.
Yeah, like he's very. I think that's kind of like what makes him interesting. Also, is that like you don't really get a clear idea of who he is or where he came from because in a way that's he's done all these things to try to erase where he came from or who he is. So like the actual answers of who he is are so like just it's like a bunch of pieces that aren't really linked together. Just like how a stand erases 2 points between time.
I was expecting that gangster that Jorno helped as a kid to turn out to be the boss.
Wow. That's wild.
So that would have been like the ultimate betrayal. He's like, I hate drugs. And then it's like, you sell drugs.
Yeah. They kind of do that with Bruno.
They kind of like trick you though with the silhouette of like, hey, it's the boss, and when they talk about him, I mentioned this before. Like, I was like, oh, he's kind of like a Kira type with his suit and whatever, and you see Diavolo, and it's like, who's this runway model?
Well, the thing with that is like, every time you see him in the suit, It's because like he's got his hair combed and all this. He has a suit on. When he finally shows up for the final battle, he literally just ripped his shirt off
But
and
we've
pulled
never
it over
seen
his
him in
head.
a suit, Jojo.
You see him in the shadows.
We see the silhouette of a man, but never anyone I would suspect to be
Yeah,
Jojo.
yeah, because like he doesn't. We just never see the light shined on him when he's in the suit and with his hair combed. But you can tell he's wearing a suit in the silhouette, and you can tell that his hair isn't this wild ass punk rock haircut. I think his hair would probably just look a lot like Doppio's hair, but like on an adult man.
It was weird that like I understood when Doppio transformed into Diavolo because I guess we knew who Doppio was the whole time. When Polnareff saw the transformation, he's like, "Wait a second, what?"
Oh yeah, that's because Polnareff was blind. He could only his eyes only see the soul. Or no, wait, maybe that was Bruno. Yeah, that's right. Polnareff wasn't blind.
Everyone's blind.
Oh yeah. Oh, Polnareff. No, wait. Polnareff wasn't blind. I just remembered. This is the weird thing. This is one of the weird changes of the anime. In the anime version, he erases time as he's transforming. In the manga version, he does not. He walks behind the pillar, and then a completely another person walks out on the other end.
Yeah, and I thought that was a cool transition.
Yeah, so like in the original like manga version, Polnareff would have saw the transformation and would have been freaked the fuck out, like how he is. But in the anime, it's from Polnareff's point of view, he would have just skipped time and just been there. Like, how'd you get here? Oh no, Diavolo's here. It would have been weird.
Oh, I really like the fight. I don't remember his name. It was like the leader of like the Hitman team fighting Doppio.
Oh yeah.
That was like, oh, this is nuts.
His stand was Metallica. I also forgot his name, but I really like his character. I wish they put him in the fighting games, but they never do.
Oh, I just like that whole episode where
he's fighting him. That was cool.
It was really cool.
It's because like what I like about JoJo is that since there's no real precedent for anything, he could have killed the boss right there and become the main villain.
That'd be crazy.
Could have happened.
But then we would have had those Doppio tricks.
Yeah. I mean, ring ring. Hello, boss. What's up?
Shut the fuck up!
Oh, Doppio's great. So, this was one thing.
Sorry?
Oh, your question first.
Why did I don't remember.
Why did he kill?
No, I'll remember. You go first.
Okay. In the anime version, something that I'm not sure I like is that I guess it doesn't really matter, but they show the boss's origin story thing before we meet Doppio in the anime. So it kind of gives away like, oh, this Doppio guy is the boss. While in the manga, Doppio is just presented without context. Though I guess the fortune teller guy kind of still like puts that idea in your head and shows you what's happening. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But like in the manga, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think I would have liked more if it was just like Doppio presented without context and then it's the boss.
It would have been fucking crazy if Doppio was in Bruno's game the whole time.
Oh shit.
And then they did know like he can erase time.
All right, just
like,
bring
how
up.
We keep losing.
Just keep bringing up like every single like just a shot of the whole team together and just edit Doppio in the background. He was there the whole time.
That's what they should have done. So then it's like Okay, because we've seen the whole season, and we don't see Doppio until a certain point. But then that's when they have the revelation. Like, wait a minute, Doppio was here the whole time, and they do like one of those like flashbacks, like previous episodes,
Yeah.
and it shows scenes from like random episodes. And in those shots, they just added Doppio in, even though he's not there originally.
I'm
So if
just
you go
thinking of
back and watch, he's not there, but
I'm just thinking like Gamer Wars, like when it's like Sean was here the whole time, and then like goes through all these things. It's like, no, that's Sean. Or like
um,
the Nomon School of Visual Effects. We had a CGI character the whole time, and it just jumps on the screen.
why did Diavolo like kill everybody? Like, why did he like? What did he broke at his mom and buried her or something, and then killed the priest? Why?
He killed the priest because he saw his mom. He probably wouldn't have killed the priest if he didn't see his mom.
Why did
Why was
he?
he? Why was he doing that with his mom?
Why did he kill his mom?
Well, she wasn't dead yet. I guess when he burned down the whole town, he just wanted to cover it all up so nobody else would find it on accident.
Oh, that's pretty extreme.
What was he doing with his mom? I don't know.
Wait, he kept her alive under the floorboards?
Yeah, she was alive.
I guess he was torturing her.
Yeah, but it's like, why was he torturing her? I don't know.
Well, was he a sick man?
There's a lot of. It's kind of weird. Like, he's kind of psychotic, like every other JoJo villain. But like, when they actually come against him, he's very like. Out of all the JoJo villains, his thing is probably the most like kind of down to earth, normal. Like, Dio wants to be a god. Kira is doing all this crazy ass shit. He wants to touch hands and do weird things. Diavolo just wants to sell drugs and make. Diavolo just wants to sell drugs and make money.
I don't know.
Like, he's not like hiding his mom under a floorboard still and trying to protect his mom's secret or anything.
No, he just wants to hide Trish under his floorboards.
I think he just wants Trish dead. Oh wait, maybe that's why he kept her alive when he grabbed her. He was gonna hide her under a floorboard.
I don't understand. I'm seeing like this weird fan things where it's like Bruno never found out who Diavolo was, and like he never saw Diavolo's face or something. And then if Diavolo only ever wanted to buy Trish an apartment, Jorno was actually the bad guy.
I don't know what that's all about. Oh, there is a joke that like since Jorno wants to be the leader of the mafia,
Yeah.
we don't really hear that much from him. The assumption is like, well, he's gonna be a good guy and turn out good. It's like I guess he's trying to get drugs off the street, but nobody ever said he was gonna be like nice about it.
Yeah, you told me he still just runs them off. He never really just stands with it.
Yeah. So like there was that one meme going around where it's like, oh, thanks for saving us from that bad guy. And he's like, oh, not really saving, just under new management.
Yeah.
And also like the ending scene echoes the end of Godfather 1. So like if you've seen Godfather 2, doesn't really stay much of a nice guy, if you know what I mean.
I get confused watching the Godfather movies.
Oh yeah? How so?
Godfather 1, I remember they were telling like Michael, it's like, hey, you have to like get out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And then Godfather 2 starts, and I thought like, oh, this is him out of town. I didn't realize it was like his dad's younger years.
Oh. Did you not finish Godfather 1?
I did, but I guess I just like I missed something.
Yeah, he like while he's out of town, he goes on this whole adventure in Italy where like he gets married and then his wife dies and then like he comes back to America after the peace is settled between the two mob families and then he takes over as the Godfather.
Hold on.
And then the ending of Godfather 1 is Michael like striking back at everybody who attacked his father and his family.
Marlon Brando played a character.
Yeah. He did. Marlon Brando plays his dad, Michael's father.
I got so confused.
In the sequel, there's flashbacks to young dad, and his young dad is played by Robert De Niro.
Then who plays?
Michael is played by how can I forget his name?
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, yeah.
That's probably what I'm getting confused. These fucking
Al
Italian
Pacino,
Americans.
Robert De Niro. I don't like the tone of how you said that.
I was gonna just leave it out Italians, but it's like, you know what? Let's make it real.
I think you're going down a path you don't want to go down.
You're not even Italian.
I do have family members who are Italian.
Whoa.
So I got the in-laws.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I still get confused. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's confusing. I have to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in like 10 years.
Oh yeah, it's a very good rewatch. I think it's a good movie. It'll make a lot more sense. Godfather 2, I was also confused when I watched it, but also when I first watched it, it was a version that didn't have subtitles for the parts in Italy, so I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And like a lot of people like say on the internet, like, oh well, you don't really need subtitles. You can understand what's going on. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
I guess you can understand visually what's going on, but like, how are you going to know who those characters are if you don't hear their names?
You know what? It's fine. I shop so much I can speak Italian.
All right.
That's a little Kanye for you because he buys a lot of like Prada and shit.
Uh-huh.
That's a lyrical breakdown. I'm here to guide you through it.
Okay, so another lyrical breakdown. Jojo Part 5, Evil on the Attack. So they fight these two guys. So Giorno kills the fat guy in the prison cell, right? With a banana gun.
Yeah.
And then those two guys are like, well, we're gonna steal the treasure.
Yeah.
And then they like, there's the whole boat section. There's the whole like island section where they're going up the thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember who those two guys are.
One guy shoved a guy in pipes.
Yeah, there's.
Oh no, he like made a lair on the boat of
another
boat.
Yeah, he put a boat inside the boat, double boat, and then deflated everybody. But I don't remember like who he is or what his stand's name was.
What did the other guy do? What could he do? I don't remember.
The other guy's stand's name was Kraftwerk. He could make things float in the air, but I don't remember what he looks like. I just remember his stand was Kraftwerk, and he could make stuff floatate in the air, and he used that to climb up the wall to get back up to the truck that Mista was on.
Oh. That's pretty much it. I got nothing left.
You were gonna say something about why did they kill somebody?
Yeah, that was it. That was why did he kill his mom? Why did he kill the priest?
Oh.
But you answered that for me.
Okay. Yeah. So Trish.
What about Space Girl?
Spicy Lady, Spice Girls, Wannabe. Oh yeah, also, Part 5 is the gayest JoJo part so far.
I will concede that to 1 point.
2 points. Possible
well,
third.
I guess they're two dudes.
There's two couples of dudes.
Well, okay, the second one I wouldn't consider a couple, per se.
Okay, so let's talk right off the bat. The first one is the Assassination Squadron's two leaders who were killed before the show even started. They were a couple. The second couple...
Are we talking about the ones when, like,
I'm talking about...
always told the opposite thing?
No, I'm talking about the two guys who get chopped up.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Then there's the second couple.
Oh, okay. The
Oh yeah,
second,
I guess there is a third couple with the scientist guy and the weird guy in the bodysuit. But
but
that's
like I said, I wouldn't say they had that type of relationship.
um
I felt like that was a different type of relationship, not that kind.
here's the thing. I wouldn't say it's a romantic boyfriend relationship, but I would say that it was still a sexual relationship,
I wouldn't have even gone that far.
just based on like how he describes things and what he says. It's a very master pet uh, domination thing.
I wouldn't have never connected it to sexual. Because I feel like gimp suits is such a stereotype, despite there's no other reason for it to exist. Um, but in
It's a
that
gimp suit,
context,
but it's like I don't. There's no non-sexual version of a gimp suit.
yeah, like yeah, I agree to that, but I don't know. There's no other evidence. For all we know, he could be the odd one between the two. Is like, hey, this guy's just fucking
Um, wait, you're saying the guy in the gimp suit, the Oasis guy, was the weird one?
yeah, because I don't really remember much about the other guy.
Well, the other guy who he cut himself in half and had his spinal cord showing and was running around.
That was a
When
bit
he
kind of
died,
weird.
he called Oasis guy on the phone and then said he loved him.
Okay.
So
Wow.
and then they both ended up in the same dumpster.
So they were trash. Got it.
Yeah, Jorno took out the trash.
But the other two guys, the one that made Naracha tell lies or whatever,
Yeah,
I would agree to that because they did have one shot, and I was like, "Yo, this is very much like a wedding photo or something." I don't know.
that's putting it very. I mean, they're like embracing each other.
Oh yeah, that's why I said that. That's the one I would have conceded to.
And
I've
he's
been
like
like, you know
rubbing it.
what? They didn't because for me, it's like the author has to outright say it. But in that case, it's like, okay, I don't have to like stretch that far for that one.
I don't know. I mean, like, if the author has to outright say it, then wouldn't that like make all subtext like meaningless?
I don't believe in subtext because it would make too much speculation.
Okay, so I was
But
rewatching
then it,
I was rewatching our Perfect Blue thing, and then you were trying to say it was about drugs through
I
subtext.
was re-listening to that and I was like, where did I get that from?
Hey,
What was I thinking?
I was wondering when you said it, and I'm still wondering because like you're also always talking about like, well, it has to be in the text, and then you just bring that up, and I'm just like, what?
Maybe I'm just stubborn, and if I don't come up with it on my own, I don't believe it. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. So JoJo Part 5 is about.
Jojo Part 5 is about being gay.
I thought that was Part 3.
No, that's about. No, that's just Jotaro.
Alright, give me your full essay on Part 5 and why it is about being a homosexual.
Okay. 1. Giorno.
Okay, I'm with you so far. Is that it? You should leave it there?
Yeah.
You lost me.
Okay. Let's go into it. Giorno.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Let's double back. Did we talk about this in Part 4?
We talked about Part 3 stuff. We never talked about anything in Part 5.
Okay, let's dial back a second. Josuke's gay in Part 4.
Holy shit, tell me how. And don't say because he wants to buy fancy shoes.
He's got a heart on his chest. 1.
That doesn't mean
2.
we all have hearts, Kevin. So
2. In every other JoJo Part
yep.
1, Part 2,
Yep.
there is a romantic relationship with a woman.
Okay.
In Part 4,
Yep.
he does not interact with any woman romantically other than like when he's helping Koichi out with his girlfriend problems.
All right. Argue against your own point now.
The only thing I can say is that why do I have to argue against my own point? I'm not doing your job for you.
Because I want to see if you can defeat your own argument. I want to see if you can spot your own flaws.
I guess the one flaw would be that they don't show him having ass sex with another man.
That's not what I would have said.
A lot of people would ship like Okuyasu with Josuke.
I wouldn't have said that either.
Oh, I'm just saying they do it. You can kind of see something there, but
Okuyasu explicitly said he liked girls.
Does he?
He said so.
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw part 4. Well, listen, Okuyasu could be bi, but no, let's go with the third part.
What?
So Kira is the exact opposite of Josuke. And Kira,
is there ever a protagonist that is not the opposite of the antagonist?
Kira likes women's hands. Well, he only likes women's hands.
Yeah. Okay.
So Kira is straight. Okay. And Josuke is the opposite. What does that make him?
Josuke's never once said I'm into men's feet.
He's into those shoes, though.
They go on his own feet.
They're cool shoes.
I think this is a weak argument. I can like kind of see like with part 3, part 4, your arguments are weak.
Wait, really? You would go back on part 3? Okay.
But I say part 3, you have a stronger case than part 4.
Yeah,
because at least yours was interesting.
In part 4, I don't really have much of a. It's really just a general vibe about Josuke and how he acts. Like, you could argue it's entirely just that, like, the whole thing, I think, is that once you get past the whole hair bit, where he's like, hey, if you look at my hair, you're pissing me off, a lot of the way he acts doesn't really follow that, like, hot-blooded teenager attitude thing. He's not just a punk kid type guy. There's the ways that he acts beyond that are very like I guess you couldn't say directly about it, but I don't know. But
part 5?
Let's go to part 5. Giorno.
Not seeing it.
3 hair holes.
What was that supposed to mean? Buttholes? I don't know. 3 dick holders. I don't know. Tell me. He puts hot dogs up there. I don't know. Water bottles?
So this is all gonna go off on like. All right.
3 hair holes.
When you edit this podcast, you're going to have to listen. At this time code, you're going to have to put in a picture that I'm going to show you right now.
I'm just going to put it as the image.
Okay. A lot of you might be wondering, why is this the image of the podcast? Now you'll have the answer.
If it's fan art, I'm not going to look at it because it's not canon.
Alright. It's not fan art. It is directly from the source itself.
If it's from the in-between chapters and he just wrote, hey, by the way, Giorno's gay.
Here you go. Look at where Giorno's fingers are.
That has nothing to do with his hair holes.
Oh, yeah, fuck that. That was me stalling for time.
I don't think this means anything. It just looks cool. Okay.
Yeah, why does it look cool?
Does that make me still gay?
Alright. What was Narantia watching when he, like, saw them alone?
Oh, fuck. Wait, does that make Avdol gay?
Possibly.
Oh, what's the difference?
The difference is that with Avdol, they were being like magnetically attracted to each other.
Oh, some might
Uh,
say
but with
chemistry.
Giorno and Mista, they chose to do that. Like they weren't being forced to do this. Let me bring you up to speed with the manga version of it again. I really like Narantzio's reaction from the manga version. I don't like how they changed it in the anime. I like this version better because it's funnier.
I don't remember what they were doing.
The actual context was Giorno was healing Mista.
Honest. Oh, he was shot in the side or something, right?
Yeah, it was after they fought White Album. Mista shot himself again.
Man, Misa's fucking useless. Okay, but even then, just because they do that one pose does not automatically make them gay. If I do
Maybe
that
not,
pose, that doesn't make me gay.
not them together, but why is Giorno reaching down there?
He's healing him.
No, I mean, not that pose. Above.
Oh.
Where they're holding the gun together.
I don't have an answer for that one because I don't remember the things surrounding it.
That was when they were fighting the helicopter in the sky, Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
And he needed to allow him to make the shot. So, yeah, he's holding him, but why is he reaching down there?
Isn't he, like, propping him up or something?
Yeah, but you don't have to reach into his pants.
I don't think he's reaching into his pants.
Look where his fingers are.
It's not tucked under.
Yeah, they are.
You know what? Ask Rocky, have him tell you.
Actually, here's the thing. In the anime version, they're not. And in the Blu-ray release where they're fixing everything up, they made it so they are tucking in again. So this was an issue that they had to correct.
Well,
so let's riddle me that.
All right. I'm ready for it.
Ready for what?
What?
What are you ready for?
Oh, I'm going to say you're wrong. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Said.
Secondly, Bruno.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Back it up. You can't just say shit.
Look at him.
Wow. That's not stereotyping.
What's the stereotype?
Well, you just told me! You just told me if I look at Bruno, I'll know that he's gay.
Okay, alright. Look at Mista's hat for a second. What does that look like? What is that pointing downwards?
It's an arrow, but that doesn't mean anything. The whole thing is arrows.
Alright, let me give you a better shot.
Oh my gosh.
Well, take a look at those. That arrow again. What is that at the base of the arrow? Why would it be shaped like that if it's just an arrow?
Because it's not Jorno who's gay. You were wrong. It was Mista.
No. We've already clarified that Giorno is gay. I'm switch. We're doing it on a 1-by-1 basis here.
Trish is the gayest of them all. She had a dick the whole time.
What?
Yeah.
When?
I thought we were just pulling evidence out of her ass.
No.
Oh, sorry. I thought that's what we were doing.
Listen. I showed my work. Show yours. What are you talking about?
All right, I'm ready.
All right.
You know how she has like division symbols on her dress thing?
Yeah.
He will not divide us. Enough said.
Okay.
Enough said.
Here you go. Here's my counter argument to your counter argument.
All right.
When Trish and Mista switch bodies,
yeah.
Trish in Mista's body, they specifically go into, oh no, I have a dick. Oh no, where'd my dick go?
All right, you ready for
they
this?
Both. There you go, right there.
What is a dick, but really a social construct? You know.
I don't like what you just said. I want you to erase that. I want you to delete your words and your
I don't.
actions.
I don't have. Um, I don't
All
know what his
right.
stand is called.
Whose stand?
Epitaph can see
King
into the
Crimson?
future. King
Yeah.
Crimson is the ability.
King Crimson is the stand.
Mm,
Epitaph sees into the future.
mm.
Mista has Sex Pistols.
So how does I don't understand how he transforms his body into Doppio. They never
Uh,
explain that.
they don't.
Is it just like a psychological thing, and he just switches personalities as a different man?
That's one way to look at it.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
I have a fan theory that doesn't
Oh,
fully make sense. So it's as good as dirt.
Dirt is
So
pretty rich.
this is a pretty useless fan theory. This is just me connecting dots, and it might not make any sense at all.
Yeah,
When he switches to Doppio,
yeah.
he is erasing the time of his body from adulthood back to being a teenager. And when he switches back, he's going back to the future,
Back to the past.
back to his regular adult body form. It's all King Crimson switcheroony, which I think maybe the anime was trying to like draw attention to with that one scene where he erases time as he's transforming.
I'm looking forward to the other parts because I want to see if any of them ever connect to the others, which I doubt.
This is, I think, the one thing I'll spoil about part 6, just so that
Well,
you're not looking for it.
oh, I know what the thing is for part 6, so
Part
I
4
don't
and
need to look too
5
much.
don't connect to 6.
They do in a way.
They do, but they don't.
Yes, I know what you mean. Like story arcs, they don't connect.
Yeah, like I have a fan theory explaining all that, but it might be
But
wrong.
I'm wondering how 7 and 8 will attach to those story wise, if at all. Because at least like 1 through 3, they all had a story connection. Well,
Yeah.
maybe
4, 5, and 6
3.
more have like a thematic connection, though there is a
Mm.
story connection also between them. It's like not as big as 1, 2, and 3 together. It's more like characters do show up, but it's like not. There isn't some part where like Giorno and Josuke meet up in part 6, and it's like, hey guys, let's meet the new Jojo. That does not happen, and it will not happen. So don't look forward to it.
I was expecting Koichi to play a bigger role, but he just really showed up for like 2 episodes, and that was it.
Yeah, I think that's also like because a similar thing I think happens with part 2, but they still bring it back at the end. Smokey.
Yeah, why was he
At first,
there?
he starts off as like Jos- Joseph's like sidekick, but then like
Not even.
then he like after Joseph like leaves New York, he's gone for the whole story until the end.
Well,
I think
until
like
part 3, he comes back very briefly.
uh, I don't think so. He's just
Yep.
mentioned once.
Well, you see him in the newspaper.
Yeah, that's not the same as being in the show.
Well, I saw his face in the show.
Like Koichi, I think maybe Araki like thought, well, I don't want to shoehorn Koichi into the finale because he hasn't been here the whole time, so he didn't. Because like he did that with Smokey.
Hmm.
All right, so Abachio,
Oh my gosh.
gay.
Who is not? Should be the real question here.
Trish. Though maybe you could argue, but there's absolutely no evidence. You would just be going off of looks there.
Oh, much like Bruno. I believe someone said, and I quote, "Just look at him."
Yeah, but I think
Your words, not mine.
here's the thing. Just look at him.
Yeah.
What do you see?
See a man
You sure
with
about
some
that?
strange fashion sense.
When I first saw him, I thought it was a woman.
I thought Naraja was a woman, and then I thought it was a boy, and then I thought it was a girl, and then I couldn't figure it out for the rest of the show.
I don't get it. They even like in the anime version, they put abs on him, so I don't know where you got that idea.
You never seen Buff Woman before?
You've never seen Buff Woman?
I'm asking you.
They even made absolutely sure this time to give him a male voice actor.
I thought it was a female.
No, it's a guy.
You seem confused.
In other times, they were giving him like female voice actors, but now
like in games.
Yeah, in the games, like he had girl voice actors, but they rectified the issue this time.
So confusing.
I think it's just the hair. And his little bandana. And I guess the fucking woman's top, but if you just take all those three things out of there, I don't know how you can be confused.
Naraja's into girls, though, I believe. Who was it that was into girls?
I think Naraja might have been, yeah.
Because they were checking out Trish.
Yeah. But, was he?
Someone was in that van.
Oh, Mista was.
See? Oh, yeah. Mista. So the hat means nothing now, does it?
Bye.
Whoa, way to backpedal.
Listen, I've got it all figured out. It's all there.
Okay.
Also, let's take a look here. Josuke has a heart on his chest, right?
Yep.
But his heart is covered. Giorno is uncovered. He's free. He's out. He's there. He says, "Hey world, touch my chest."
I don't think he's ever said that
once. he's never said it, but that's what he's saying by keeping it open.
Because he's talking to his father, the world.
Daddy Dio.
This is going down a route I don't want to go down.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
Just saying.
Oh,
when they said that they were taking Giorno in, it meant something else.
I don't even know. Yeah, so that's part 5. Oh wait, also Fugo.
Yep.
Inconclusive. He has a Swiss cheese suit, but he's so not in the show that you can't really get that much out of him.
What's Swiss cheese supposed to mean?
His suit has holes all over it. Like Swiss cheese.
Thanks. And what about Diavolo?
Diavolo is a psychopath.
Okay.
I don't think he has...
But he has bread.
He has no emotional connections to anybody except Doppio, which...
is him. All
himself. So, like, he's got a narcissist thing where he loves himself. And only himself.
Isn't that like Dio?
Similar to Dio, but different, because Dio's looking out for number one. I think Diavolo is actually in love with himself. Like not as some figuratively, like he does all these things for himself. He's literally in love with himself.
Okay. That's actually pretty interesting to think about. Because I guess I never thought that concept before in any capacity.
Because also in a way, he is also a little bit abusive to himself in a way, also like a narcissist would be. He has a split personality disorder, and when he's talking to himself over the phone, he refers to himself as "my sweet Doppio." So, there you go. But that's not really a point towards gay or straight. That's just that he's in love with himself.
Well, let me tell you how this is all an analogy for drug use.
There's drugs in the show, and people use them.
They're not supposed to.
But they do.
think we pretty much summed up all my questions.
All right. So
I still feel like the last episode could have been placed somewhere else.
I like it where it is because I think as an epilogue, it kind of answers questions that helps leave other things a mystery. I think with part 5 and with part 4 and part 5, I think his goal was this isn't so much a shonen anymore, but more of like a kind of horror mystery thing. Like it's less about the fight and more about like figuring out, well, if he does this, what do I do? Like when they actually do fight, it's very quick. It's very like they shoot him and then they're dead.
Yeah.
So like it's less of like increasing like power levels to like this Super Saiyan level and more about like, hey, here's some weird mystery shit. How did this happen? Even Giorno's final ability is like it's not really he's ascended to a Super Saiyan. It's hey, here's some weird mystery shit. What the fuck did you just see?
Still, that's just weird. Even then, I might have to rewatch it in like a year or so.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
thanks for listening. Oh,
like, comment, and subscribe. And in your comment, please explain in your own words why Modern Crusaders was the best JoJo ending.
This is our longest one yet by like a few minutes, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's because we had to tack on that extra thing about who's gay and who's not.
Oh my god! Yes, we had to. It's very important.
Now that we've cleared up the message that everyone in JoJo is gay, I'm happy with our discussion.
Wait, is that from everyone from part 1 through 5? What about future parts? Do you have?
Listen, I've made myself clear.
Oh man, I was about to ask. I was gonna ask if there was a part, not telling me which though. If there's a part where you'd be like, okay, hold
on. Maybe part 1.
Well, I meant from upcoming parts. 6, 7, 8.
So when 6 comes out, there's going to be a debate here on this subject, and I'm fully confident that I will win, but I can see the counter argument. That's all I'm gonna say.
And okay then, fine. I'll leave it at that. And then in like 6 years, we'll talk about part 8. Gosh, 6 years until part 8 comes out.
I feel like whenever part 6 comes out as an anime, you should just read part 7 as a manga.
No, I'll watch it.
Just because I think
you said part 7 is like the longest, so there's gonna be the most episodes probably.
Maybe, but also like I think that it utilizes the art form of manga in a way that I don't think the anime version is gonna hold up to.
I remember you telling me why, so I don't know. I'll read it after I watch it.
That's gonna be a weird read.
Why?
I don't know. It just seems kind of strange to me. Oh well. We'll see what happens. Join in later and you'll see what happens too.
Next time. To be continued.
Jojo.